Well, the preacher said, anyone who needs to be prayed over, come forward in front of the altar. Bubba walked up. Preacher said, what do you want me to pray about, Bubba? Bubba said, preacher, I need you to pray for help with my hearing. Preacher puts one finger in Bubba's ear, places the other hand on the top of his head, prays and prays and prays. After a few minutes, the preacher removes his hand, stands back, and asks, Bubba, how's your hearing now? Bubba says, I don't know, Reverend. It ain't till next Wednesday. Hey, y'all heard these 15 years ago, okay? They're still good, okay? And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Darryl Beasley, your host for another edition of Let's Talk Real Estate. I will take your questions, your calls, your comments, your complaints on real estate and real estate finance. 324-1500. Had a great show last week with Dwayne Sutton on investing in real estate as rental properties. We're going to wrap that up today, and then we're going to talk about flipping houses. So a lot of good stuff today. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Looking for someone to make your next home loan? Start with someone you can trust. Susie Dartlin at Iberia Bank Mortgage Company, one of the most experienced lenders throughout Northeast Louisiana. Knowledgeable in all types of mortgages, including FHA, rural development, VA, and conventional mortgages. Iberia Bank Mortgage processes, underwrites, and closes all loans right here in Monroe, Louisiana. Start your process with one of the most respected lenders in our market. Susie Dartlin and Iberia Mortgage. Call 327-3317. Equal Housing Lender, NMLS 362451. All loans subject to approval, including credit approval. Some restrictions may apply. Other programs available. Program conditions subject to change without notice. Susie Dartlin, NMLS 419431. Coldwell Banker Group 1 Realty and Iberia Bank Mortgage are separate independent entities. Fox Family Electric, the company you've trusted for over 35 years for all your electrical needs. Their proven experience and trusted customers include many churches, hundreds of residential homes, and commercial properties throughout Northeast Louisiana. Fox Family Electric loves the small jobs too, from changing light bulbs to light switches. They're there for all your needs, including after-hour emergency service. Fox Family Electric, experience, trust, and committed to what's best for you, the customer. Call David Fox at 318-330-9966. That's 318-330-9966.
We're experiencing some extremely hot weather this summer. Sharon Uchley at Coldwell Banker Group 1 Realty specializes in water-related properties and would love to assist you in finding a cool property to enjoy. Whether it's lakefront property like Darbone, Caney, or Horseshoe, swimming pools, ponds, or even waterfalls, call or text Sharon on her anytime cell phone, 372-7778. That's 372-7778. And let her take you on a sea cruise of available properties. Coldwell Banker Group 1 Realty, 362-0007. Each office independently owned and operated.
Have you ever had a friend or family member, or have you ever bought a house where everything goes wrong on the last day? This is Justin Underwood of Movement Mortgage, and my team and I are right here in Monroe, Louisiana. We want to take the stress and worries out of your home buying experience. Movement Mortgage has designed our entire loan process to take those stresses and hassles away. We work with first-time home buyers, military, and have various down payment options. Give my team and I a call. We are here for you. I'm Justin Underwood with Movement Mortgage. We want to bring you home faster. Call us at 318-805-2811. That's 318-805-2811.
Movement Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 39179. Justin Underwood, MLS ID 1122476. NMLSConsumerAccess.org.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Paula, how are we doing today?
Hey, good. How are you doing today?
Are we back in work mode yet?
Well, I guess. We were in work mode while we were gone, though, too.
We were, weren't we? We went to Gulf Shores. We go there, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 times a year. Bought a little plane. I renewed my license and bought a little plane 4 or 5 months ago. It's in the shop right now, so we had to drive there. But we were on the beach. Let's see, went down Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, came back Tuesday. But you were only on the beach once. I wasn't even on the beach, right?
I know.
I intended to be on the beach, but we had a good day the first day, and you were out there. I went out and worked out, played some racquetball, and did some things around town, and then it just didn't rain. It didn't cooperate after that. But
That's true.
Monday morning at 2:30 a.m., we did have a little entertainment. We heard the noise, some banging and yelling and screaming, and we didn't know what was going on. And all of a sudden, we heard the fire alarms go off and everything, and I walked outside the door, and everybody was out there standing and staring and looking, and they pointed up to the floor above us, and they were handcuffing a gentleman who apparently the police had been chasing up and down every floor of the stairs, and he was banging on doors and setting the fire alarm off. They finally caught him.
Yep.
So
I'm assuming he's still in jail.
I guess so. We had a great meeting with all the neighbors there. I said, let's just get on the beach. We're already up, already out, you know. But, hey, we're going to do a little thing every week, I think. We're going to feature a certain subdivision in northeast Louisiana and Ruston. We're just going to pick a subdivision out and just give you a few little things on that subdivision, and we kind of picked Frenchman's Bend for the show today. We'll go with something maybe in West Monroe next week, maybe Indian Lakes. But give us some quick stats on Frenchman Bend, Paula.
Okay, absolutely. Right now, there are 27 homes on the market in Frenchman's Bend that's listed in our MLS system. And these figures that I'm giving is based on our MLS also. Of the active properties, the average heated square feet is 2,615. The average bedrooms and baths are 4 bedrooms, 2 baths. Average list price, $343,211. And the average price per heated square foot is $132.19. Now, that's the active property.
Mm-hmm.
On the ones that have sold this year, there have been 23 homes that have sold as of today. The average heated square feet is 2,636. Average days in the market is 146 days. Average sales price, $336,279, and that makes it $127.48 a heated square foot on average. Now, of course, there are some that's a little lower out there, and there are some that's a little higher. The highest price per square foot that has sold has been $158.49. And of the active right now, the highest per heated square foot is $154.38.
Okay.
So that's a good subdivision out there.
But the average price per square foot, and of course this is the average, so but when they put them up for sale, the average list price is about $132. The average sales price after sold is about $127. That's about $5 a square foot negotiating. Now, some of those go for a full price. Some go for above the asking price. People that have a competing situation, that 2 or 3 offers that come in, they go above the list price to try to make sure they get it. And then some negotiate a little bit more. But on average, and normally $3 to $4 a square foot is kind of typical for the negotiating average in northeast Louisiana. But again, it depends on the situation there. Do you show the highest and the lowest sales price?
The highest and the lowest, yes. On the sales price, the lowest this year, excuse me, has been $280,000, and the highest so far has been $420,000 on the sales price. On the listing prices, the lowest active right now is $249,900, and the highest right now is $419,500. But there are times when there's the highest listed or sold is $600,000 or $700,000.
Right.
So this just happens to be right now what's available.
Yeah, and I certainly assume there are $1 million homes in Frenchman's Bend.
Absolutely.
They just don't, people live in them and don't put them up for sale. We live in Calvert Crossing, and that would be a good one 1 week. But we've seen properties in Calvert Crossing go in the mid-200s, and then there's 1.5 million, or so too, 2 million.
Right.
So,
and I was just kind of looking here. Last year, the most expensive one that sold in Frenchman's Bend, again, that went through our MLS system, was $642,500, which was $163.85 a heated square foot.
Gosh, it just seemed like a few years ago when the average sales price per square foot was $90, $100, and then builders, new construction went to $105, and now it's, we see $150, $160 out there per square foot. Just depends on the quality of the home and the location. Now, a lot of states do not even give a price per square foot. They think it's horrible, very unfair, because the fact is, ladies and gentlemen, you can build a 2,000 square foot home, 3-bed, 2-bath. You might be able to build that for $60,000 if you just put cheap wood, cheap bathrooms, cheap kitchen, cheap floors, just a place to walk in and live. And then you could build that same house for $500,000 with quality stuff. So it's not just the cost per square foot; it's the quality of the home, quality of construction out there. So
correct.
All right, Paula, leave you alone, but we'll come back a little later in the show, and we'll talk about some new listings on the market throughout Louisiana here.
Absolutely, we will.
All right, we will catch you soon. Had a great show. My first show back after 15 years here, we talked about refinancing, and I have a passion for that. Went to a great economic luncheon today. OIB sponsored it, and very national, top quality economic people knew what was going on throughout the country and the world. And we talked about China and Germany and Japan, the market and what's predicted, what's to come. But we talked in there about refinancings, and one head of a bank there talking about lenders was saying, Darryl, I had a friend the other day and went from a 30-year to a 15-year mortgage, and I said, I know. Dropped 10 years, refinanced, no cash out of pocket, and is paying the same monthly payment. He said, yeah. And I said, hey, preaching on my radio show the first week. I will be on KTVE tomorrow at 4 to 4:30, somewhere during that time, with Louisiana Living, and be talking just for a few minutes on refinancing. So I'm not going to get off that. There's just hundreds of you out there that have, I'm even going to say, a 5%. If your interest rate right now is 5%, and the head of the bank here was telling me theirs was, I think, 4% or so. They thought, well, gosh, how could it be at 4%? Well, the thing today is the historic spread between a 30-year mortgage and a 15-year mortgage. Historically, it's only 1/4 to 3/8%. Well, today, it's 3/4% difference up to 1% difference. And he said in this example, person went to a 15-year mortgage at 2.5 or 2.75%. The difference in the interest rate, the refinancing out of that PMI MIP that most of you are paying that you forgot is in your mortgage payment, all that allows you to refinance to a 15-year mortgage, include your closing costs in the loan, and then drop 5-10 years on your mortgage and come out with about the same payment. So go to a preferred lender, interview a couple lenders, give them your information and say, look at this, you tell me what I can do. You can call me. I will be happy. I authored the national selling book, Everything About Home Loans, and be glad to give you my my little 2 cents worth. So, Dwayne, how you doing?
Fine, Darryl. How are you doing today?
I know you'd like for me to leave you alone, but you are the in-house expert, the ABR, GRI, CRS, CRB. Now, you don't have a GED, so you know we're gonna have to work on that. But we're gonna go to a little football game Friday night, aren't we?
Yeah, it is. We're playing. Who are we playing? John Curtis.
John Curtis. West Monroe playing John Curtis, and you know Neville is playing Evangel.
Yeah.
After that.
Yeah.
Are you gonna stay? You gonna stay and watch that game too?
I don't know if I'm gonna stay and watch that game. I'll probably listen to it on the radio.
Yeah. Now I'm not sure how good Evangel is this year, or if they're still as strong as they used to be. But John Curtis is still ranked nationally one of the best teams in the state of Louisiana. Actually ranked ahead of West Monroe. I guess on paper they should be favored, but you don't feel that way, do you?
I do not feel that way. I thought that West Monroe was number 2 in 5A, just behind Brother Martin, and John Curtis was below us.
I just noticed some rankings or something, but hopefully, prayerfully, we'll come back with a Neville win and a West Monroe win Friday night. Now, maybe my prediction, Dwayne, I'm going to get in trouble here on the radio, but my prediction is there's a 50% probability we can go back to the Independence Bowl during the bowl season and probably watch my beloved OU Sooners and LSU. Maybe, if they make it.
Maybe they will.
I don't know. I think LSU's lost. Now, I'm a diehard Sooner fan. That's where we came from, and I have 2 kids that played over there. But I'm an LSU fan, too.
ULM, I think, is playing Oklahoma this week, aren't they?
Yes, ULM is playing OU this week. You know, and that's tough because I love ULM. Saw Nick at lunch today. Love ULM. Love the people. Love the players. Support them heavily. So that, I guess, if I had it my way, OU would win by just a few points, and ULM could say, you know, we lost to a top-ranked. I think OU still ranked 9th in the nation or something after that loss. I think that LSU loss was worse for LSU than the loss for OU. Houston was a good team. I think LSU should have won. We thought they should have won the game, but maybe. We're not going to get started on that, ladies and gentlemen, because, you know, you never know. But, hey, let's wrap up. Last week we were talking about rentals. Had a lot of calls this week, a lot of comments, a lot of text messages. Great information that you provided last week. But we were talking about investing in real estate as rental properties, and we did the whole show on that. And you mentioned, and I've got it here, but you mentioned the 4 returns on investments that you can have on rental properties. Do you want to mention those?
Yeah, the first one is cash flow, and cash flow is how much difference there is between what your rent is and what your principal, interest, taxes, insurance, vacancy, and maintenance. That is one, and whatever's left is called cash flow. You also have appreciation, which is I typically use a 2% factor in that. And then you have principal reduction, because every time you make a payment, part of that payment goes towards principal. So over the years, your loan balance will decrease. And the last cash flow is depreciation. The real estate, the IRS will allow you to depreciate residential property on a 27.5-year program. So you take the value less lot, and then whatever's left over, you divide that by 27.5, and you get to deduct that from your income tax.
Mm-hmm. You know, we were blessed, I don't know, 3-4 months ago or so, and my goal is all of my agents at Coldwell Banker Group 1 Realty, about 130 of them or so, I want them to make a living. I want them to flip and rent and all that. And we just said, you know, let's get some experts together. And we had a little session about, I don't know, 3-4 months ago, whenever it was. And I got my opinion for the best in town. There's certainly a lot of great people in town that are very knowledgeable on this. But you were gracious enough to sit in. We had a little panel of 4. We had quite a few 60, 70 agents there, and people from within the community that asked if they heard about it to come in and sit down. But you were there. Who all else do we have there, Dwayne?
We had James Townsend, Ron Scott, and Charles Brown.
And Charles Brown, right. I think Charles had 400 rentals or 400 properties or something like that.
Yeah, Charles got about 400 properties.
But everybody has a different story. Each of you achieved your success. You all handled rentals. You all flipped. You all did different things, lease purchases, whatever, built. But everybody had a little different niche on it. But certainly there are people out there making a living in rental properties. But, you know, for a young couple, stable, to, you know, as an investment, I went to luncheon today, and they were talking about the return on a treasury bond or something. I think it was below 1%. They were talking about in Germany and China, a couple other states, that the return on a 2-year bond in those countries were negative. Basically, you were paying the government to put your money with them. Now, why would somebody do that? You know, the answer was that the government wanted people to not invest it, but to spend it. But the rate of return on bonds and things are so low. When you can invest in real estate, what do you consider your return to be on rentals?
If you were to get an 80% loan on a rental property and you look at all 4 of the cash flows, your return is 20% over 20% on your cash on cash return.
How do you beat that? You know,
I don't think you can. Your 10-year Treasury notes right now are about 1.5 points, so you could invest in those, but that's only 1.5 points. I don't think there's any better investment than in real estate.
And you know, when you say 20%, you're talking now. Are you talking about the 20% down that you have invested, or are you talking about the entire value of the home that you purchased?
I'm talking about your cash investment.
Okay.
Versus,
yep.
Your 20% investment, and you'll get about a 20% return on that 20%.
No, you can't be that. And you take a young couple that's stable, they got their jobs, they got a little savings and everything. Fantastic investment to purchase a rental home. Don't take cash out of it. Put it up, get it paid off, and then 10, 15 years down the road, you got a house that you could sell and provide the college tuition for a couple of kids, 2 or 3 kids, you know?
Yeah. Or if you could buy 1 the first year, 2 the second year, 3 the third year, and then your cash flow would allow you to have your children go to school.
Right. Let's talk about
out of school, then you would have some retirement.
Let's talk about flipping houses, which is people have been doing it for decades out there. A lot of TV shows out there centering on this, but where do we start on flipping houses? It's not as easy as everybody thinks. There are many failure stories as there are success stories, I think, in flipping, don't you?
I think there is too. Everybody watches the flipping shows on TV, and they typically always make a profit. Well, that's not always true in the real world. I think the primary thing is to know what a property is, the value is after you repair it. That's called R value, after repair value. And then you have to know how much it's going to cost you to repair that property. And then you have to decide what your holding costs, your taxes, insurance, real estate commission, and those things are. And then you also have to calculate how much profit you want to make, and that would come up with your maximum price that you could pay for a property.
You know, I remember even having a formula or spreadsheet when I was flipping 3 or 4 year to make sure I accounted for every potential variable or cost, and people don't account for all those things. Getting the loan to, which is not easy. That's a challenge in itself because you're buying a house that needs a lot of work. So you're going to have to go to a bank, use your line of credit, second mortgage on your house or something or another, your cash, to get a loan. And banks, they want you to have something in it.
They sure do. They want you to have some sweat equity and some of your own money in there before they'll loan you anything. The best thing to do is to buy some rental property first, create some equity so you can go to your friendly banker and then set up a line of credit. So if you have $100,000 in equity in some rental property, then you can borrow $100,000 from the bank. So you can go out and buy a $60,000 house, put $10,000 or $15,000 in it, then sell it for $100,000 and make a few dollars. You can do that.
I think the biggest fault that people have in flipping is they don't account for all of those things. They think, oh, here's a house we can get for, and I had somebody just a few weeks ago call me and said, man, I can buy this house for, I think, $80,000, and it's worth $100,000. That's $20,000. Well, not really. I mean, by the time you buy it and pay interest, and a lot of times banks want a point, on the loan. Then you have taxes and insurance is not particularly cheap on those properties, are they?
No, it's not. You get a fire policy and a liability policy on there, and it is relatively expensive.
And then the repairs, and people always have a tendency to underestimate what it's going to take to put that property back in condition, and then when you sell it, you can sell it yourself and not use a realtor. You're eliminating probably 80% of the market. But if you do list it with a realtor, you've got commission there. And then if it's that perfect price range home, I'm gonna say $150,000 for a flip, then your buyers are very often going to be a first-time home buyer or somebody trying to get into it on a 100% loan or FHA, and they're going to ask the sellers to pay the closing costs, which is another $4,000 or $5,000, right?
It's always that way. Almost everyone wants you to pay closing costs, regardless of the price of the property.
Now, you don't have to. Sellers don't have to. Last seller I had that told me I'm not paying any closing costs, and I said, well, that's no problem. That's your decision. But what you've done is you've eliminated 90% of your potential buyers. Why don't we just ask $4,000 or $5,000 more, or negotiate $4,000 or $5,000 less, and let's sell this sucker, So, but the downsides of flipping, I think, is would you say the people not really calculating all the variables of expenses into it, holding time and all that?
Yeah, I think so. You always go over on your estimate on cost. I've never gone under budget on cost. I've always gone a few dollars more. And let me tell you what the 4 most expensive words are in flipping.
Okay.
Those 4 words are while we're at it.
I haven't heard that, but you're 100% on track. Oh yeah. And that often comes from the wife that's looking at the house and saying, oh, this would be so cute if we did this, or boy, if we just added this or upgraded to this dishwasher or this whatever, you just for a few dollars more, but it all adds up.
It adds up and your budget is blown at that time.
Mm-hmm. what would you say is the of course, people flip all different ranges, and I don't think you mind me saying this. You recently flipped a $500,000 plus property, I think, didn't you, in that range?
Yeah, we did.
But you have done low to high. What? And everybody's different. What do you like? What general price range do you like in flipping when it's completed and repaired?
I like something around 125 to 130,000 because you have more of a market there, and it doesn't take as long to complete one of those, and then you can go on to the next one. And you can typically spend $20,000 on most houses like that and get them in really great shape. Mm-hmm. But that's the price range that I like the most.
You know, a person could buy that price range for a total payment of, I'm just guessing, $600 to $700 a month or so, and cheaper than rent. And then you get into the area that you're buying in. Now, probably the ideal area is an area that would qualify that property for rural development financing?
Yes, rural development financing and no flood zone. Oh,
yeah. Stay out of the flood zone. And there's a website people can go to, call any realtor, and they just plug the address in and tell you if that house qualifies for rural development financing, tell them what rural development financing is, Dwayne.
Rural development financing is you can finance the house at 102%. Part of that 2% will go towards your funding fee, but they'll actually just finance the whole house for you. Then you can get the seller to typically pay the closing costs for you, so you can get into a house with very little money. There are some limitations on where you can buy a house. It must be outside of the city limits, and there's a map that will show you where those properties are. I have recently went to a seminar, and they said that they're going to try to get all of Ouachita Parish to be eligible for rural development, which means that someone in the city limits could actually get a rural development loan. But until that happens, though, there are limits on that. To go to see if a property is in a flood zone or not, you can go to LSU flood maps. If you Google that, you can go to a website at LSU, put the address in, the parish, and then the address, and it will tell you what kind of flood zone it is in.
Mm-hmm. So, if somebody was flipping for the first time or something, gosh, I would definitely, now they may find a particular house that they like and then get it for a good price and everything, but the worst case is you want to make that house as marketable as possible, which means that price range that would encourage as many buyers looking at your property, but a house that a person can get into as inexpensively as possible, and that starts with rural development. Now they can go FHA, 3.5% down payment, but most people, given that choice, would rather find a house in the rural development area and go 0 down payment.
And in reality, FHA is a loan that that you'll never get the monthly mortgage insurance premium off of it. Plus, you have the upfront mortgage insurance premium. And if you calculate that on what you're really paying as far as mortgage insurance, it's an astronomical amount of money. I like VA is a lot better. You can get in there with no money down. I like rural development. And then from that, I'd go to a 5% conventional versus FHA loan.
Mm-hmm. Do you like buying properties to flip in the city limit areas, or do you have a problem with buying something in a rural environment?
I don't have a problem buying anything anywhere as long as you have a good profit potential.
Mm-hmm. Do you have does it scare you to see the magnitude of the repairs required? Now, it'd be great to find something just cheap that just needs $4,000 or $5,000 worth of work. But if you have to really gut a house and totally rebuild it, does that bother you?
Well, it used not to bother me, but since I've gotten a little bit older, I don't like to work as hard as I did. I had an opportunity opportunity this weekend to look at a property that needs well over $100,000 in repairs, and I just didn't want to tackle that right now.
It's going to take a lot longer. The more repairs, the longer it's going to take to get it finished, the longer it's going to take to get it sold, the longer it's going to take to get your money back. And then you start battling the bank unless you got cash to do it. You get a loan from the bank, that bank doesn't want you to sit out there forever with that. So
not unless you have a good line of credit and they're well protected. They like to and of course they do charge you interest every month on your line of credit, so you do have to account for that also.
Then you come back to who does the work. Now, if somebody is in the construction business or has a job somewhere and they can do this themselves, well, I guess that's great to do it on the evenings and weekends if the family can go out there and do all the work and painting and stuff like that. But normally you get into somebody you trust or have confidence in, and sometimes that doesn't always work. Do you have certain people you deal with, Dwayne, that you trust?
Yeah, I do. I have some folks that I call on when I need something done in different trades. I do most of the grunt work and let the professional people do the carpenter or painting or heating and air, plumbing.
Mm-hmm. But when you flip a house, when it's finished, it is a quality home. You do it right. Not everybody does it to that extent. I think a lot of people are going real cheap and just try to get as little as possible into it to flip. But bottom line is, you get what you put into it.
My philosophy is if I needed to move into the house that I'm about to flip, I would, because I would repair it as good as I possibly can, and then I would not mind living there. So that's what our program has been.
Do you see as many opportunities now, let's just say in Northeast Louisiana, to buy and flip homes as maybe we saw 10, 20 years ago?
The deal of the century comes along about once a month.
Mm-hmm. For the general public, of course, we know a lot of realtors. We have a lot of agents within our company that deal with bank repos, different entities. So, realtors have access to these. They can go to the sheriff's sale, I guess, or HUD repos, right?
Yeah, I pulled up some websites. I can mention those.
Okay.
That, anyone can go to. Auction.com is. I bought some properties off of Auction.com before. XOME.com. That's another auction website.
Mm-hmm.
Hubzu, HUBZU.com. Realty Track gives you a list of properties that will be coming at the sheriff's sale or ones that have already been foreclosed. So you can, if you go to Realty Track, you pay, I think, $15 a month or something like that. You can also go to HUDHomesUSA.org and see what HUD properties there are, or you can go to homesales.gov and it will give you a list of properties. You can put in the parish that you want to look for properties, or the whole state, or any other state under homesales.gov.
Is there and I know I'm going to have some calls on this. Ladies and gentlemen, if anybody wants that information, I'll get it from Dwayne tomorrow, and just give me a call at Coldwell Banker Group 1 Realty. Ask for the owner, Darryl Beasley, 362-0007. Just run me down, and I will email you that information. Do you have a certain, and I think every investor, every flipper is different on this, but do you like to see a certain profit level for you to tackle a certain flip?
Well, yeah. If you can make 20%, that's great.
20% on
the sales price.
Okay.
That's difficult to do in new construction, but you have a lot more problems in rehabbing older properties.
Yeah, Because most builders, what are builders making now? 10-15% at the most or something?
I never did make that much. So
Yeah. It's tough for new construction to do that. You can do it on a flip. All right. Well, Dwayne, we're going to move on. Thank you so much again, and may have to wrap this up again in one of the following weeks, but we will see you soon, and thank you again for your time and your expertise.
Okay. Thank you, Darryl.
All right. Dwayne Sutton, not just a good friend, but I think one of the smartest people, not luckiest. He's analyzed it and figured it all out, and extremely successful. But throughout our company, he's with Coldwell Banker, and he's helping everybody every day. The saying goes, when the water rises, it raises all the boats. So we just help each other. Everybody makes a living, and we're all good out there. Take a short break. We'll come back with a lot more stuff. Stay with us.
Looking for a title company to close your next real estate transaction? Call Acadian Title Agency, serving the entire Northeast Louisiana area. Quick closings on all types of loans, including FHA, VA, conventional, rural development, and more, including cash sales. Easy to talk to, straight answers, and experienced service. Call Lori Wiles, loan closing specialist at 812-3434. Owned by Katie Balsamo, attorney. That's 812-3434.
When you find the home that you want to buy, choose the mortgage lender that can help you buy it. Assurance Financial. At Assurance Financial, lending is all they do. They've made it easy by using local appraisers, underwriters, and loan officers. It's home lending the way you like it. Call Assurance Financial at 812-0022 for your next home loan. That's 812-0022. Assurance Financial.
Buying a home, the absolute most important decision in the home buying process is having the home inspected by a qualified licensed inspector. Corey Wright with Corey Wright Inspections is experienced, licensed, and ready to assist you to make sure you are aware of the condition of the home you are buying. Corey is fair, honest, and will give you a quick but thorough assessment of the house you're buying. Don't find out when it's too late. Call Corey Wright at 318-547-7402 and get your property inspected. That's Corey Wright Inspections, 547-7402.
Looking for one of Northeast Louisiana's leading and most experienced real estate agents? Call Craig Morris, a full-time, lifelong resident agent with over 15 years experience. Also, Craig is a member of Coldwell Banker Group 1's coveted Wall of Fame.
Craig Morris here. Call me today at 381-MOVE to discuss a successful strategy that will guide you through your next real estate transaction.
For quality and professional service you can trust, call Craig Morris, 381-6683.
Coldwell Banker Group 1 Realty, 362-0007. Each office independently owned and operated.
On the last day, God won't ask what kind of car you drove. He'll ask how many people you drove who didn't have transportation. On the last day, God won't ask the square footage of your house. He'll ask how many people you welcomed into your home. God won't ask about the clothes you had in your closet. He'll ask how many you helped to clothe. God won't ask what your highest salary was. He'll ask if you compromised your character to obtain it. And finally, God won't ask how many friends you had. He'll ask how many people to whom you were a friend. And good gracious, this relief effort for all of our friends in South Louisiana, we were so blessed. Maybe y'all saw the full-page ad in the Sunday paper that was put in by the News Star. So many people in the real estate community went in together. We had trucks at our Coldwell Banker building in West Monroe constantly going out. Shannon Harper, Remax, Slagle McGuffey there at Remax, and Mark Uchley and JR, and we had so many people throughout the real estate community that chipped in and made a couple trips a day to southern Louisiana, and they came back with just the most astonished look on their face on what they saw there. People that had no clothes, they had no food, It's just amazing. But I talked to my good friends from Baton Rouge, and they say, the great thing about this brings everybody together. Everybody jumps in and just helps and support each other. So, all right, Paula, got you back again. Let's tell us about some of the new properties that people don't know about that's on the market right now throughout Northeast Louisiana.
Absolutely, sure will. And the first three that I'm going to mention all could work into that flipper thing.
Here's some flip properties for you people.
171 Duffy Lee Road in Monroe. This is, it's a small house. It's 922 heated square feet, a 2-bedroom, 1 bath. It still needs some work, but it has new air and heat, new hot water heater, dishwasher, new carpet. It's on 1.5 acres, and it's listed for $17,000.
Whoa.
That could be a flipper right there.
Hey, y'all call Paula Beasley. You don't want to give out your cell, do you?
I advertise my cell all the time, sure.
Well, give me your cell because you might get a call when this before this show is over.
It's 355-9046. Or if you'd like, you can talk. The listing agent is Mr. Ed Dillard on that one.
Right, Ed Dillard.
The next one, Teresa Ellerby has it listed at 277 Highway 547. This is a 3-bedroom, 1.5 bath on almost an acre. Very well-maintained home. Has cyclone fencing around the entire property. Huge enclosed back porch. And it is priced at $65,000. Next one, again, I said these first three might be good flip homes. 804 Roselawn in Monroe. It is 1,584 heated square feet, 3 beds, 1.5 baths, and it is listed for $82,000. And Mr. George Smeltzer has that one listed. We have a new listing at 3705 Lafayette Street, and this is Lafayette in Monroe. Mr. Brian Avara has it listed. It is 1,480 heated square feet, 3 beds, 2 baths, just minutes from ULM on a dead-end street. Had a new roof last year, great backyard with patio and gardens. It has a storage building. And this could be a good investment property, actually, right there by ULM. Could rent it out to someone going to college there. Miss Charlotte Gaston has a new listing at 108 Mesa Drive. 3 bedrooms, 1.5 baths. This is in Western Hills subdivision. 1959 heated square feet, sitting on about a half acre. And of course, this is the George Welch School District. It also has a sunroom, a shop with electricity, fenced backyard, double carport, storage room, and it's listed for $139,900. New one at 299 Cypress Loop in Farmerville. Miss Jan Mattingly has this one. It's 1,280 heated square feet, 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms on 1.3 acres, and this is on the water, and it has tons of shade trees, the lake covered boat shed with lift, pier that extends into the lake channel, great for fishing, and it is listed for $150,000.
Give us one more, okay?
Okay. 211 Dauphine Drive in West Monroe. This is in Darbone Hills. Ms. Donna Minter has this one listed. It is 2,088 heated square feet, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, beautiful red brick home. It has updated countertops, stainless steel appliances, 2 family rooms with a separate dining room, a large utility room and pantry, and huge closets throughout. It is $179,000.
All right, Paula. Thank you, and we will see you soon.
Oh, okay. Sounds good.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. And, I mentioned careers in real estate. Now, you can go to careers at Group 1, GROUPONE, careers at group1.com. We'll give you a lot of information on somebody going into real estate, the cost, all that. Real estate school itself, you can go to online for as little as $195. You can take a live class for really about $500, okay? But total, you're probably looking at $1,200, $1,400 to all the fees and costs and everything. It is amazing to get into real estate for that reasonable price. And a massage therapist, I think, is $10,000, $20,000 to. Going to take a short break. Come right back. Okay, got some more announcements to make. Stay with us.
Are you in the process of buying a new home? Protect your investment by hiring a competent, reliable, and licensed home inspector. Ray Cartwright with Cartwright Home Inspections has been a local resident of Ouachita Parish for 40 years, certified in homes, pools, and spas. Let Ray help give you peace of mind when purchasing the biggest investment you'll probably ever make. Call Ray Cartwright at 318-307-0965. That's 318-307-0965. License number 10966.
For all of your electrical, air conditioning, and heating needs, call Delancey Service Company. Family owned. Jeremy Delancey will give you fair, honest prices from changing light bulbs to installing new air units or rewiring the entire house. Emergency service available 7 days a week with no overtime charges and covering the entire Northeast Louisiana area. Call 376-6928 for the company that can handle all your heating, air, and electrical needs on both residential and commercial property. Delancey Service Company. 376-6928 for service you can trust.
For your next home loan or mortgage refinance, call Tracy Day at AMCAT Mortgage. With 18 years mortgage experience, Tracy Day gives you local, professional, and friendly service. Loan programs include conventional, rural development, FHA, VA, refinance, debt consolidation, and cash-out refinances. For veterans, they also specialize in VA interest rate reduction loans, which require no appraisal, no income verification, and no money out of pocket. If you have an existing VA mortgage, call Tracy to lower your payments. They also give $500 lender credit on all types of loans to support their customers. Call Tracy Day at AMCAT Mortgage, 318-387-1331. That's 318-387-1331.
All right. Now, next week we'll give you market status. We did River Oaks today. We'll do Indian Lakes next week, okay? So all you people out there living in Indian Lakes, be listening in. And don't forget to tune in to KTVE tomorrow, Friday, Louisiana Living at 4 o'clock. I'll be on the air talking about refinancings. Again, we wish all our Neville fans and West Monroe fans and Ouachita fans, every local football player, good luck Friday night. Thank all people for being with us. We'll see you this time next week.
No need for you to worry, no need for you to fret. Coldwell Banker Group 1, proving to be the best. So if you want to buy or sell, put us to the test. Coldwell Banker Group 1, put your mind at rest.
Call the Monroe office at 361-0300, West Monroe at 362-0007, or the Ruston Group at 255-5302.